that I have that and share some of that time with Senator Chambliss.
Is there objection? Without objection,
Thank
to
you.
order.
You know, as we look at the bill that we're going to be voting on today, it's an interesting perspective if you're outside of America looking at it. And here's what people are saying. You're going to stimulate the economy with a 2% reduction in payroll taxes. You're not going to raise income tax rates. And then you're going to spend another $136 billion. But all this, you're going to borrow the money. We spent 8 months on a deficit commission addressing the very real problems that are about to become acute for our country. And I have no disregard for those that bring this bill to the floor, but to bring this bill to the floor without the opportunity to cut wasteful Washington spending to at least pay for the outflows that are going to come as a result of this bill, which will be the $136.4 billion that I mentioned, without an opportunity to at least make an effort for the American people to see that we understand that part of the waste, part of the duplication, part of the low priority items that the federal government is presently enabling to happen, to not offer and not have the opportunity to offer a way to not charge that to our children and grandchildren, I think denies the reality of everybody else in the world that's looking at our country. And so this afternoon, or later this morning, I will be offering an amendment that will suspend the rule, including any requirement for germaneness, and that we'll have a vote. And we're going to have an amendment that cuts $156 billion from the federal government to pay for the $136 billion that's actually going to go out the door in the next 11, 12 months. And it's not an easy vote. But the world's going to be looking to see if we get it. Not only are the disgusted people in this country with our actions that we continue to borrow and steal and beg from future generations, but the world financial markets. And they're going to see, and you saw the reaction of Erskine Bowles and Alan Simpson after working 8 months trying to drive an issue to get us back on course, to create a future for us that will allow us to control our destiny rather than someone else to control our destiny. And really, this is just a drop in the bucket, this amendment, to the waste, the duplication, and the fraud. You know, we're going to run trillion-dollar deficits as far as the eye can see right now, with no grown-ups in the room saying it's time to quit doing that. We're going to continue to do that. But what are some of the things in this amendment? A congressional pay freeze, a cut in the executive branch and the congressional budget of 15%, a freeze on the salaries and size of the federal government, limiting what the government can spend on planning, travel, and new vehicles, selling unneeded and excess federal property, stopping unemployment benefits to people who are millionaires. By the way, we are sending unemployment benefits to people who are unemployed but have assets in excess of $1 million. Collecting unpaid taxes, currently in excess of $4 billion owed by federal employees and members of Congress. Forced consolidation of duplicative programs, preventing fraud, taking some of the $100 billion that's defrauded from Medicare and Medicaid every year and preventing that from happening by the FAST Act, and streamlining defense spending and reducing foreign aid, including voluntary excess contributions to the United Nations. The people of the world are astounded that we would spend another $136 billion and make no attempt to get rid of the excesses, waste, and duplication in our federal government. Because we aren't allowed under regular order to offer amendments, and I understand the purpose for that, this amendment will require 67 votes. And the American people are going to be looking. And they're going to say, does the Senate get it? Do they understand the severity and the urgency of the problems that face our fiscal future? And when the Joint Chiefs of Staff of our entire military says the greatest problem facing America is not our military challenges, but our debt, it should give us all pause to consider the reality and the impact of our excesses in the future. I yield to Senator Chambliss.
Mr. President.
Senator from Georgia is recognized.
Mr. President, I rise to